Hey guys, I had a viewer request during the week that I start doing commentary on these guys instead of just text, so I'm gonna give it a go and see what happens. So for this week's Challenge of Elders, we have Specialist, Exposure, and Super Kills grant bonus points. Probably the best modifier is the Super Kill bonus because getting Super Kills is pretty easy. The only thing you'll need in terms of loadout, well, it depends who you're playing obviously, but as a Titan, I'd recommend the Sunbreaker using Explosive Pyre and Forge Master so you can throw more hammers. If you're a Warlock, I'd recommend Transcendence with your Stormcaller, and as a Hunter, you should be a Blade Dancer with Encore. As for guns, you probably just want to be using Bad Juju, can't go wrong, get more super energy that way. Any sniper will do. And a heavy machine gun, probably Solic because there's wizards. So in the first room, in the Vex room, you're going to just want to take a right as soon as you walk in. Try to avoid the beam from the boss because he'll trap you in a detainment shield. And don't do what I did. In a different run, I got trapped and I Titan skated too fast and got suppressed straight away, so don't do that. But you want to use this box as your hub for most of the fight. The enemies will tend to pile up around you, but they don't really go behind the box, so you're pretty safe if you want to duck behind cover. Occasionally a hobgoblin might come onto the right side of you, but just take them out if you see them, no big deal. You just want to sit here until you build up your super. And once it's charged, wait for the boss to do its phase, and then you can start throwing hammers. This is where Explosive Pyre really comes into play, because a lot of the enemies just die from the chain. Okay, when all the enemies are dead, you can just swing around on the platform here and you'll get a clear shot of the boss's crit spot. You shouldn't take too much damage because he sort of struggles to lob the shots over the box. Just make sure you don't get hit by his detainment shield. You just want to do enough damage to trigger the next reinforcements wave. You don't want to do too much. If you skip a wave, you're going to miss out on a lot of free points. Once the new wave starts, take out the enemies, build up a new super. Use it on the ads if there's enough left. If there's not enough ads to warrant a super, just wait for the next round. Just continue using your bad juju on the ads until they're all dead, then chip the boss down for a new wave, then use your hammers. Better solution. Probably get more points that way as well. But either way, build up a super, use it on the ads, swing around to the side, and take shots at the boss. The boss won't be able to focus his beam on you over here, so you should be pretty safe from his detainment shield. Not that it's a big deal anyway, you just have to shoot it off, but you can be in a bit of a jam if you're out in the open and you get detained, especially because exposure is a modifier, you're not going to get health back too easily. I would recommend using Cauterize as one of your subclass perks, even though the health it gives back is pretty minimal, but it's still nice to have. But if you take it slow at this stage and play it safe, you should have a full overshield by the time you finish this room, or more or less pretty close to full. In the first room, any score above 5,000 is fine, but if you can get to 6 or 7,000, you're in good shape. The more points you have now, the less stress you'll have at the end, because the final room is by far the hardest room. Alright, the next boss is Solic, obviously. Again, not the worst boss. The fire he does breathe is pretty annoying, but you sort of can get by if you stay away from it. So straight up, you want to take a sharp left on the entering and head towards this corner here. It's going to be your hub as well. This spot's really good because you got decent cover from the ads. The wizards don't typically... The wizards can come up to where you are, but they don't typically annoy you too much. I mean, I reckon make sure you have solar machine gun ammo. It's really handy for the wizards. Chip them down. And then you want to use your hammers on the ads. Particularly, I mean, there's only wizards and taken acolytes in here, so they're primed for a one hammer kill. And they can chain pretty well too, which is nice. Alright, so once your super's done, just retreat back to cover. You can literally use the entire back platform here because he does breathe fire quite a bit, so and it does linger for a good minute or so. So if he lights up an area, just sort of rotate towards a different part of the back platform where there's no fire, and then once he breathes fire in that direction, go back to the start. You sort of just swing left and right on both sides. And once the ads are dead, just sort of peek, take some easy shots. Because Specialist is on, you'll do massive damage with your sniper. It should only take 4 or 5 crits to trigger any phase. Not a big deal. The same deal, just make sure you got machine gun out. Yeah, that's a good point actually. With the fire, because your shield is so strong because of exposure, you probably won't notice you're in fire until it really starts to hurt you, but just try to be alert to that, because it will chip your shield down and you're not going to get it back very easily in exposure. You feel free to move around this little area behind the cliff. The boss sort of can't really lob shots. He can lob fire there, but he can't really hit you with a direct shot, so you are pretty safe to sort of move around, jump up and down, try to throw hammers over the top to see any adds as well. And same deal, once you're done, take some sniper shots. Make the next phase spawn. This is towards the end of the round now. I elected to save my super for the next room, for the first wave, instead of using it. I probably could have used it here, but the next room gives you more points, so I thought I might as well just hang on to it here. Honestly, probably could have used it and nearly built up halfway, but whatever. Just trying to take out the boss now. Probably should have swung to the right platform because you get a way easier shot than from this side, as you can see. Miss all my shots. He will grow impatient most likely, but it's minuscule. Like, he gives you what takes 50, 100, 200, 300 points off you. It's really doesn't start to be an issue until you start taking like a literal 5 to 10 minutes after the time starts. Otherwise, you're fine. But yeah, any score of 15,000 is fine here. I think I had 18. Yeah, 18.6. But yeah, 15,000 plus is excellent, really. So many points to be earned this week.
Retreat to airlock.
Right, now finally for Narusk. Probably one of the harder bosses in this. Both Cabal bosses really suck. The other one's probably even worse with the Scions, like the shielded Scions you have to kill, but plenty of adds in here, which is good for points. And you can sort of roam around with your hammers if you want. Explosive Pie should chain a lot of it, because the Scions tend to bundle so do the Phalanxes. But the Phalanxes are dangerous, you're going to have to prioritise them as soon as you run out of a super, so you want to use this side hub as like your main point to lock down. But only for a certain time, because it sort of gets overwhelming at this spot. Like, the boss will start to push up. He doesn't come behind here where you are. The Phalanxes do, and so do the Scions sometimes. And the Phalanxes are really obnoxious. You want to focus fire them as soon as you can. But the boss does, like, shoot poison darts. Shoots those Axiom darts at you, which can be a real issue. Don't let that happen. Well, obviously you can't stop it from happening, but just try to shoot them if you hear it coming. But yeah, once you get everything chipped down. I wouldn't recommend a sniper for this bit. I do actually switch later on. I'd reckon probably Telesto is the best bet. Like, a shotgun can work, but he has a crazy stomp range. His AoE stomp is huge, and I'll pretty much one-shot you if you haven't got a strong overshield, so Fusion's probably your best bet. Or if you're a crack shot with a sniper, go ahead, but Fusion has a dual purpose. It also does take care of the Phalanxes pretty easily. Telesto again would be a recommendation. So when new wave spawns, obviously, you supercharge, use it. There'll be like 6 Phalanxes, I believe, per wave, and they do typically tend to spawn from the left side. So yeah, I'd just, as soon as the new wave spawns, get ready on the left, use grenades, use guns, whatever you got, super, on the Phalanxes. You'll get crazy high points in this room, so it's not a big deal if you have to like use a super to stay alive and ball and gather points. I mean, you still be able to gather plenty of points using it, but if you need to stay alive, use it. That's staying alive is more important than building up a big score at this stage. And the Scions will tend to swing around sometimes. You haven't got much of an overshield either because of exposure, and if the Phalanxes do come behind you, it can be overwhelming, and darts, and Scions, everything can hit you at once, and I nearly died here. In this situation, I'd recommend bailing, probably sprint out to the right side, and head for the opposite corner, just so you can cool down for a bit. Well, the boss will slowly make his way around, and the ads will too, but you'll have a good couple of seconds to catch your breath. Pop a synth if you have to, and reload and whatnot. So yeah, if you make a quick rotation around the map, if you make a lap, the boss will slowly make his way back and forth. All you got to really watch out for is the Phalanxes. That'll be the biggest danger, and obviously the Axiom darts are quite lethal. The Scions don't do much, and they're very easy to take out. Yeah, if you get overrun by Phalanxes, I reckon Telesto's best bet. Just sort of aim at their feet. If you hit their shield with all the Telesto bolts, it doesn't really do anything to them. So I reckon just light up the ground near them, or if they are exposed, you can hit them. It's also excellent for boss DPS, with Specialist on in particular is Telesto, because Cabal tend to have really small heads, really small crit spots, and Telesto does fine, doesn't worry about crits at all. So once you hit the 30k, you can literally just obviously keep focusing on the phalanxes because they will kill you if you don't pay attention to them. But you can start focusing more on killing the boss and just slaying ads to stay alive. You don't have to slay ads for points anymore. You can even use your super on the boss if you really wanted. I think I choose to bail. Yeah, I choose to use my super because I was getting weak, and I think probably the most efficient way to clear out ads is to use your super. But once you hit the score, there's no reason to push on unless you're like trying to get to the 90k. If you're going for the 90k, you can either do this, I mean, if you can get 45k in a run, it means you can do it in 2 runs, but that's quite difficult, particularly with this final room by yourself and exposure. I reckon doing 3 30k runs is a lot easier than doing 2 45k runs. So to each their own. I'd recommend getting out of here as soon as you can. And again, the more points you burnt in the previous 2 rooms, the easier you'll find this room. It means you can literally only have to go through 2 phases instead of 5. A lot less hassle. Don't become too fixated on the boss. I mean, yeah, you got to try to kill them, obviously, and the sooner the better, but the ads will build up quickly if you don't watch out for them. They will start to surround you. Just make sure you stay alert. Don't let them get too close. And all things going well, you should be well over 30,000 at this stage, and you should be finished. Anyway, hope this helps. Not sure if I'll continue doing the commentary. Just let me know if you'd rather this. I can do the text, either or. Doesn't bother me. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this helps.